I could not spend a fortune for a dress form, and I only needed one to display my makes, so I constructed my own dress form specifically for lingerie. First I made Claudia, which is only the bust. Then I made Patricia. I only showed you the finished item, and never got to writing a post about how it was made. I am making a new dress form today, and this time I am showing you how. So, instead of a post to read, I am here with a video to watch. A quick note, links to resources I am about to mention can be found in the description below the video. If you don't know how to get there, look for the "Show More" text under my video and click on that. It will reveal the info. Let's jump into the subject and inspect what supplies you need. They aren't many, but you have to be ready for some experiments. The key item here is the bra-making foam fabric, which makes the shell of the dress form. I chose this over anything else because it's thick. And because it holds a shape with a more neat surface than, for instance, a piece of fabric. With the fabric you're going to get more of a bumpy surface. The bra-making foam has a structure of 3 layers. Between the outer layers is a sheet of foam. Some types of scuba fabric or neoprene are like this. And those are great too for a bust form. And potentially even cheaper than the bra-making foam. One thing to note when choosing the fabric is the stretch amount. Don't use stretchy fabrics. It won't hold the shape. My foam here has a very limited degree of stretch. Yours should be the same. Next, you're going to need a filling of some kind. I've used this fluff that can easily be found in almost any fabric department. It's vastly used for stuffing coats, pillows, toys. Then you're going to need a zipper. From my experience, it's best to have the zipper along the center back. And lastly, you're going to need a pattern. Let's talk about it. My bust form Claudia was made using the mannequin pattern from Timelace Studio. This was a very generous gift to the corset community. It is a free digital pattern. I fell in love with the breast shape on this form. Louisa is definitely a very skilled and talented person. Thank you so much for sharing this with the world. The biggest downside of this pattern is, it only comes in one size. For bra making, that's European 85B or C. In UK or US sizes, that'd be 36B or C cup. I am not that size, so I went and experimented with the printer settings and scaled this to 85%. That's how Claudia turned to be a 70 band in European sizes and a UK 32 band. For a 75 band or UK 34 band, print the pattern at a scale of 90%. Size labels match the Offi Atelier bra sizing. And a note about printing. The PDF file is different from what you usually use. It comes as a single sheet. You need to open up the printer settings dialog. Mine here looks like this. And somewhere among the settings should be printing as a poster. Check that, and now the Adobe Reader application will divide the big sheet into papers you're using. I am using A4. If you're using letter paper type, select that. Here's the scaling settings you might want to play with. And if you have this checkbox, have it checked too. And hit print. After you've printed the pattern, the printer adds some margins you're gonna need to trim. Dreadful job, I know. Next you need to measure the underbust segments and sum them all up to check if it's a good length. You may need to reprint at a different scale. This pattern does not include seam allowances, and it's exactly what we need. Moving on to another pattern. These are actually a series of patterns in various sizes. It's from the Master of Patterns School online. On Stuart's piece of art I love the bottoms. Gosh, look at those buttocks. Marvelous. These are paid patterns. If you join the Pattern School online Facebook group, Stuart offers discounts from time to time. And you get so much knowledge about pattern making for stretch fabric from the group. The downside of this pattern, it was not made to sew it, but to tape cardboard pieces. For foam, you can join some paper pieces and reduce the number. This is what I did with Patricia. There are other patterns for sure. I can't possibly know all of them. But these two are sensational for lingerie shapes. Another way to get a pattern is to wear a t-shirt, tape your body, and then carefully cut that, and get a pattern to your measurements. But this works for a dress form for clothes, not lingerie. I know larger cup sizes will feel disappointed, but I think with some experiments and a bit of imagination, you might be able to insert bigger cups into one of these forms, or do a full bust adjustment. For the dress form I am going to sew today, I totally changed the bottom part of Misaki. I taped the pieces and drafted my own lines. I also made some slight adjustments on both patterns. And I am going to join the top from Monique with the Misaki bottom. Here I have cut out all my pieces. What's important though, is to plan how you construct the sections. For instance, I am going to have the top side joined together, but leave it open along the center front. Then I will construct the legs separately. And the part below the waist. The best thing in all this, you don't have to worry about seam allowances. There should be no seam allowances. To sew two pieces together I am using a wider zigzag. I am bringing the pieces closer. Don't overlap. And stitch happily and rather quickly. Exactly like foam cups for bras. Now I want to join the top and the bottom at the waistline. While sewing, I am making sure to align the vertical seams. Separately, I am also working on the other sections. For the neck, I first constructed the tube section that goes around. To add the cover, I turn the tube with the right side, inside. This way I can stitch around on my sewing machine. When sewing circles, it's very important to have notches, because they show you how to align one curved edge with one straight edge. In a similar manner, I constructed the leg tubes. With the right side inside, I stitched the bottom cover going carefully around. This circle is bigger than the neck, and the notches here were a lifesaver. And after that I want to add the zipper at the back while this still allows a flat work. However, before adding the zipper, I want to reduce the thickness. This is why I overlocked the edges here. You can also successfully simply zigzag instead of overlocking. Looking closely, you can see, I cut in the edges a bit. That's to allow room for the zipper. At the bottom, I have this little sharp cornered piece. This is actually the crotch. This little piece joins all the bottom form sections, but for the moment I am setting it aside. Let's add the zipper. Although not complicated, I took my time to add it properly. I want this area to be as flat as possible. I already said that, and I want it very clean looking. Since the zipper does not stretch, I use the straight stitch. But because I want this area as flat as possible, there are 2 stitches on one side, and 2 stitches on the other side. Here, look why it is so, but on the right side, 1 stitch is at a distance. The second is on the very edge. This way, I know the edges won't hang unaesthetically, and the zipper won't catch any threads. Next I need to join the shoulder seams. And add the armhole cover. This is one of the difficult parts. With notches and patience, you should go slowly around. While sewing, you will have to rotate your work several times. Behind the scenes I also added the neck. Now it is time to stitch the center front seam. Remember that little crotch piece, it will join the front at the very bottom. But before that, let me turn the work. I need to open the zipper up. This is how I will be able to insert the project under the presser foot of my sewing machine. And this is how I can flatten the front to align all the horizontal seams per sections and stitch. This stitch is the first that catches the eye, so take the time to properly arrange your work. After that, I will add the crotch. If I ever make another dress form, I will change the order here a bit. To be precise, I would add the crotch to the back, then add the zipper. And when the center front is done, I would join the crotch to the front. With most of the body completed, including the crotch, I now want to prevent the waistline from expanding when filling the form. The waistline is narrower than the bust and hips. I want to preserve the shape. I am going to add this satin ribbon that doesn't stretch at all. And I will cover the zigzag stitch with it, all around. Here I walked on each edge of the ribbon using a straight stitch. A matte beige color ribbon would be even better, but I did not have it. The pale yellow will do. Now that the waist is stabilized, I can move on and join the crotch to the back. And after that, I am ready to add the legs. Make sure you choose the correct leg. With the right side of the foam for both the body and the legs, inside, you'll need to slide the bulk under the presser foot of the sewing machine, and stitch around carefully. This is the most difficult part of this project. After some forbidden words expressed off the camera, the bust form is complete, and we can turn the work with the right side showing. When done, it's time to fill it. As a backbone for the dress form, I chose 2 plastic bottles that I taped together. Use plastic that is not easy squashable. Take your time to arrange the filling and smooth out the form. And voila! This dress form is pinnable. It's not heavy and it's very easy to move around. When you don't need it anymore, you can take out the filling and use it for another project. If you want to transform the mannequin into a bust form, cut it at the waist or just a little above that line. And draft an oval for the bottom. And if you want to add a leg, make a hole. And add a piece of cardboard inside at the bottom. Find an old bed lamp, from which you can cut away the cable, and remove the crown and the bulb. Instead of destroying a good lamp, you can purchase from IKEA only the stand. I checked, they sell them separately. And you can find long ones too. The top head somehow screws and you'll be able to catch the bust and the cardboard. And I think that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this project and will try one yourself. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share or subscribe if you found this useful and want to see more. All the very best to you.